right, so we'll begin the practice. Finding a comfortable seat and shifting back, if you like, right to the back of the chair so that you can lean into the back support. It's up to you. And you're welcome to have a little bit of a cushion if you'd like underneath you to have a little more softness or a little more height. And just try to make sure your feet are still resting into the floor. So if you need to bring something under your feet for them to land into the ground more easily, go ahead. And yeah, just notice how your feet land into the floor. You know, what width you prefer with your knees, finding your feet underneath your knees, and letting the weight of your thighs rest down into the chair. Become aware of the spine's length. You might feel and imagine as though the head is a helium balloon, nice and light as it floats upwards, especially through the back of the neck. Try to feel that lift into the back of your neck and the base of your skull. Notice how your shoulders sit this morning. Could they wiggle away from the ears, resting down the back a little more, and you might release any tension through the fingers and the hands, letting them find a way to relax and rest, maybe on your lap. So feeling and sensing into your body here. You can close your eyes or keep them softly open. What lets you tune in to feel yourself as you sit here, noticing the points of contact you're making with the ground through your feet, with the backs of your thighs and your hips settled into the seat. Feeling where your back makes contact with the chair. And all the while still sensing the lift and the length of the spine. And then let's become more conscious of the breath. So start to feel into the nature of your breath as it is right now. Feel the breath as it moves in through your nose, and feel the breath as it leaves through the nose. Noticing the subtle sensations through the nostrils, the subtle movements there as you breathe. And you might notice one nostril bringing in more breath than the other one. We tend to have a dominant side that changes every few hours. So notice if you can feel where that dominant side is right now. And then continue to follow the breath moving into the body. So maybe sensing into the space around the front of the chest, the upper part of your lungs, your breastbone, your collarbones, widening out from the chest to the shoulders. And just sensing this space as you feel the movements of your breath here. How does your chest move as you breathe in? And how does your chest move as you breathe out? And of course, these movements are often subtle. Sometimes we can feel them easily, sometimes not so easily, and that's all part of the process. Just noticing what movements you sense with each inhale and with each exhale. And then see if you can visualize the whole circumference of your ribs. The rib cage is rather large, running from, just under the collarbones or just above the collarbones, really, behind them, and all the way down to the sides of the waist. Ribs wrapping around from the front of our chest to the spine in our back. So could you feel and sense the movements of the breath into the whole circumference of your ribs? And so that with each inhale you sense the ribs expanding, side to side, front to back. And with each exhale, can you sense the ribs narrowing, letting go of the breath? The muscles between the ribs gently contract, helping to push out more of the breath from the lungs. With each inhale, as we breathe in, those muscles gently stretch, allowing the ribs to move apart as the lungs fill. And then the ribs move back in towards each other as the lungs empty. So can you feel that in your body as you breathe? And then notice the nature of your belly as you're breathing. Can you soften further down into your lower belly, around the navel and out to the sides of the waist, as well as the upper abdomen just above the navel, just below the ribs. So this whole area can relax with the inhale, and you can feel the breath expanding the belly as the lungs fill. And then each exhale, can you sense the belly gently drawing back in? You're not pulling it in, you're just noticing that little bit of movement as you let go of the breath. So let's follow the path of movement that each breath takes as it flows in through the nose, fills the lungs, expands the belly, and then feeling and following the slow release of the exhale, belly gently drawing back in and up, ribs narrowing, breath leaving through the nose. And then we can slowly start to bring your awareness back out again. So sensing the space around you and maybe hearing any sounds you notice, near and far. And then gradually deepening the inhales through the nose, feeling free to sigh out the exhales through the mouth and letting your eyes flutter open whenever you're ready for that. And once you've opened your eyes, maybe just have a look around your space, orienting yourself, looking side to side, looking up and down, maybe just noticing what you see, as well as finding some gentle movement here into the head, the neck. All right. Yeah. Okay, and then let's come towards the front of the chair, if you're comfortable with that. So you can have your feet still underneath your knees. Again, you determine how close or far apart the feet are, what's feeling best in your hips right now. So let's go ahead and we'll do some flowing sequences today. Let's start with movements for the spine, the upper body, the shoulders. So let's begin like this with the hands on the thighs. And we'll do a couple cat-cow movements. So on the inhale, let's slide the hands back, bring the shoulder blades towards each other, and feel like you're lifting through your belly, lifting through your breastbone, and letting the gaze, the head follow. And then as you exhale, hug up and in through your belly, gently round your spine. Try to keep your shoulders pretty much above your hips here as we bring the chin down towards the chest. So letting the inhale, slide the hands back, lifting and lengthening through the front and finding that little squeeze into the shoulder blades. And then rounding through the back, hugging in and up through the belly. It's almost like you're trying to move the mid-back towards the back of the chair. Let's go for just one more of those. Breathing in to lift and lengthen the front. Exhale to round and stretch gently through the back. Then let's go ahead and inhale the arms up, lifting the spine through the center. Lift the arms just as high as feels comfortable. We'll take the right arm down and stretch into this left side. That's it. And then let your next inhale bring you back up again through center, and exhale the left arm over to the chair if you want for support as you stretch gently through that right side. And then let's inhale back to center with both arms wide to the sides so we can twist to the right. So we can let this left hand rest on either of our legs and stretch out through the right arm, looking a little beyond your fingertips, maybe pausing for another breath in that twist. Good. Feel your inhale bring you back to center, arms wide again. So the exhale takes us to the left. So right hand can land on either of our knees, same knee, opposite knee, you decide. Stretching through the left arm, we can gaze past our fingertips and feel another breath here. As you breathe in, let's come back to center and exhale the hands back to the chair. So you might take the hands a little behind the hips if possible. Okay, so you can try to bring your shoulder blades in towards each other. You could also hold on to the back of the chair if you'd like. So finding and feeling a bit more lift through the front. Let's feel a breath here into the chest. So could we maintain this length through the belly and feel like as we come forward, we're going to be lifting our belly up and over the pubic bone to come forward. Now, this one, you might want to keep the hands reaching back, and this is going to open up the chest a little more. Or if you're looking for a little more release in the spine, you could also take your forearms to the thighs and just allow the head to release forward a bit, moving it gently if you like. Really nice. And then use the support of your feet to come on back upright. Shoulders over the hips. So let's do that one more time. We'll start with a couple cat-cows and then continue. Maybe we'll lead with the left side this time. So resting the hands on the thighs. Let's feel as we inhale, lift and lengthen through the front, pull the shoulders back, open the chest as you lift the gaze. And then with the exhale, hug in and up through the belly, slide the hands forward as we round and stretch the back. And then one more like that, breathing in, lengthening and lifting through the front, arching through the spine, exhaling as we round the back, feeling the stretch. As we inhale, let's lift through center, arms up as high as feels comfortable. Then take the left hand down, stretching into this right side. Let's pause for a breath here. Feel the inhale, you might back up a bit. Feel the exhale as you stretch maybe a tiny bit further. Okay, let the inhale bring you back up through center. And take all that lift and length through the spine over to the right, stretching gently through that left side. Feel the inhale settling into that left hip as you stretch away from it a little more with the exhale. Okay, breathing in loud. Let's come back to center, arms wide, so we can turn to the left. So right hand could rest on either leg. We can keep stretching out through that left arm as we twist towards it for another breath. Good. Feel your inhale bring you back to center, arms wide again. So the exhale takes us over to the other side, stretching out through the right arm. As we're twisting in that direction, can we keep feeling our spine lifting tall through center? Nice. And then inhale back again to center with the hands coming down. slightly behind you if you can. So this will open up a little more into the front of the chest, the front of the shoulders. So guide the shoulder blades towards each other. You could even use your hands here, kind of lean back into them, push into the seat to lift the breastbone towards the ceiling. Feel another breath into that space. And then when you come forward, can you feel like your belly moves up over the pubic bone, navel towards knees more like? And then, yeah, you're welcome to rest your forearms there on the thighs and allow for a gentle release to come through your spine. Finding any little wiggles that feel good here, any small, gentle movements through the neck. Breathing into your back. Good. And then again, let's push into the feet. Come on upright. All right, nice way to loosen up the spine, finding those movements in all directions. So now let's find a little bit of movement through the legs. So maybe we'll start with a bit of rocking up onto the toes, back to the heels. So when we lift our heels, we could also curl our toes towards the floor and then let them rest and spread before you lift the heels. Yeah, so finding some movements through those toe joints as well as our ankles. Okay, and then resting into the soles of the feet. You might, for this one, keep your hands resting on your knees to minimize the movement of your knees so that you can roll out onto the outer edges of your feet and then try to roll in on the inner edges of your feet. So we're trying to lift the outer edges and then lift the inner edges, rocking across the foot from inner to outer edge and back again. And trying to find as much of that movement with as little movement in the knees as possible. Rather than moving from hips, we're going to try to feel the movement more from our ankles. That's it. Nice. Okay, and then could we feel the weight, the resting into the pads of our feet? So we could maybe lift and spread just the toes here, resting our weight just behind the toes into the pads of our feet, and then feeling the weight down into each heel as well. Can we keep that weight just behind the toes as we let the toes come back to the floor? So you're welcome to bring your hands to the chair for some support here. See if you can feel your shoulders right up above your hips, head light above your shoulders. We're going to start to move one leg at a time. So feeling a little bit of support for that movement with each exhale, a gentle hug up and in through the belly. So let's feel the inhale, softening the belly. As you exhale, hugging gently up and in, let's push into the left foot and lift the right just as high as you can. On the inhale, we're going to lower that foot, pushing into it as we exhale to lift the left foot. So feel breath in and breath out. Nice slow movements. If you're wanting more challenge, you could take the hands away so that you don't have the arm support anymore and you're finding your own internal strength to keep your trunk long and tall and pretty still and stable. Okay, and then let's go back to this first side where we lift the right foot. And again, you're welcome to keep holding on, but let's see about stretching and bending a few times through this knee. Good. So you might notice that as soon as you straighten your leg, it gets pretty tough on that thigh or hip muscles in the front of the leg. So just keep the leg a little lower if you're noticing a lot of sensation there. Okay, and then could we stretch out the leg and hold it there for another breath? And again, way to challenge this is to remove the hands. So be where you can be with breath. Very good. And then let that go and just massage a little bit there into the thigh, maybe a little movement into that hip now, knee coming in and out. Yeah, just what lets you kind of release and relax any tension there. Okay, so let's try it on the other side. So find your strong, stable base through both feet, through both sitting bones, through the spine's lift and length up from the hips. Finding that support through the belly so we can lift the left foot, holding on or not, and start to find movement through that knee, stretching the knee and then bending the knee, and finding the range that you can feel through this knee comfortably in both of these movements. So if the knee is not fully straightening, that's okay too. Finding what you can do today as you keep breathing. Nice. Okay, so the last one, let's see about holding the leg straight. So if you need to lower it to keep it up, that's okay. Find where you can be. Maybe you challenge it with the arms coming out a little wider, and feel another breath there. All right, and then let the foot go. And again, massage into where you felt it on that leg, maybe up by the hip, through the front thigh, letting some movement loosen into that joint. All right, lovely. Okay, so let's do a flowing sequence now that kind of combines those movements through the legs. So we'll start with both feet bent, or both feet on the floor, knees bent, and bring the hands together here in front of the heart. So feel the spine in the center, nice and tall. We're going to try our best to keep the spine long and tall as we move our limbs. So feel as we inhale, let's circle the arms up to as high as feels comfortable. Take the hands together and down, and let's go ahead and raise that right knee up as we bring the hands down through center. Now as you inhale, lower the foot, lift and circle the arms back up. You might even lift your gaze as you do that. Exhale, the hands coming down through center as the left knee lifts. Let's do another like that. Feel the breath in, arms up, both feet down. Exhale, raising the right knee, hands coming down together. Inhale, feet to the floor, arms up. Exhale, as the hands come down through center, lift the left knee. Good. Breathing in, back to both feet, arms up. As you exhale again, let's raise the right knee. We're going to add on from here. So let's inhale and push through that leg, through the heel, open up the arms. On the exhale, we're going to bend the knees, hands coming back together. Feel as you inhale, both feet down. Pushing into the feet, lift the spine tall through center. Exhale, lift the left knee, hands coming down. As we open the arms, push through the heel, breathing in. Exhale, bend the knee again, hands come back together. Inhale, both feet down, lift the arms up. Let's do one more like that. Exhale, hands coming down, knee up. Inhale, push through the heel, open the arms. Exhale, bend the knee, hands coming back together. Feel the inhale, feet down, float the arms up. Find the exhale, last one, left knee lifts, hands come down. We can stretch through that leg, open up the arms, breathing in. Exhale, bend the knee again, hands together. And inhale, feet to the floor. Lift the arms up, breathe in. And exhale, let's come forward as we bring our hands down through center. Release into the back again, coming onto the forearms. Or if you prefer to slide the hands further down the legs, you're welcome to go there. Just keep in mind how things are feeling in your back. And enjoy some space there for the breath to move into. All right, so let's make our way back upright, using, again, if you like, the support of the feet to come to sit. And let's maybe bring the feet a little wider. So I've just moved sort of more towards the right corner of the chair. And let's find a little bit of movement with the legs a little wider apart. Can we rock up onto our toes, back to our heels, lifting and spreading the toes? Okay. Feeling those movements once again through toe joints, through ankles, and because our feet are a little wider apart now, a little bit difference into the hips. Okay, and then planting your feet, heels pretty much under the knees. Just make sure your knees are pointing with your toes on each leg. And if they aren't, shift where your feet are to match where your knees point. Okay, standing into your feet. Let's start again with the hands in front of the heart. So let's go for a little more movement now, just through the upper body as we have our feet, legs, like in this position. We'll inhale, arms out to the sides. Feel that width across the chest. As we exhale, take the right hand to the left leg. So you can rest it anywhere on that left leg, the thigh, the knee, below the knee. As we inhale, let's push into the feet to help us come back up through center. And then exhale, left hand touches the opposite leg, wherever it happens to touch comfortably. We're leaning forward a little into this twist. And then inhale, push into the feet again, arms out. With the exhale, let's go ahead and take the hands together again. The hands could stay right in front of the chest or come over the head, okay? So we're gonna arc. We're gonna lengthen and lift up through the spine and arc a little to the left. Good. Inhale back up through center and arc over to the right. Inhale, lift and lengthen through center. Exhale, the hands coming down. Good. Let's inhale now. Reach back behind you. Open up the chest, much like we did earlier. Lift and lengthen through the front. Then with the exhale, come forward. And you can either, again, keep your hands reaching back. This will give you more space into the chest. Or hands, arms could rest on the thighs. One more breath here. I'm going to keep my arms back and just enjoy that space in the front. And then start to push into your feet as we come back upright. Find yourself sitting tall, shoulders over the hips again. Okay? So let's find that one more time. So we'll bring the hands together here once again. Feel as we inhale, open up the arms, wide out to the sides. With the exhale, let's first take the left hand to the right leg, turning towards the right leg. That's it. Inhale as we come back up, arms open. Exhale, take the right hand to the left leg, opposite. You got it. Inhale, come back up through center, taking the hands together in front of the chest or above the head. Above the head is definitely more challenging for the back and the core muscles. So if you found that challenging, just keep the hands in front of you. Feel the inhale as you push into the feet, lengthen the spine. Exhale over to the right, a little bit of a lean to the right. Inhale back up through center, hands could be above you. As you exhale, lengthen and arc over to the left. That's it. Inhale, pushing into the feet back to center. Then let's release the hands, arms out open to reach behind you. Lift and lengthen through the front. Feel the inhale. As you exhale, come forward, maybe keeping that reach of the arms back. So you might have to lift your hands off your seat if you want to go further forward, but you're still reaching the arms back. So let's be there for another breath. Really nice. Feel the support in your feet, pushing into the floor a little more. Then as you inhale, press into the feet. Come on back upright. Whew. And just take notice of how things are feeling. Coming back to maybe sense the quality of your breath after those movements. The breath may have quickened. Heart rate may have quickened. So let's take a bit of time to come back to feel it slow down. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. All right, nice. So let's practice a couple sit to stand movements. So I've just brought my feet in a little closer together than where they just were. So you want to be able to feel the support of both feet and probably walk the feet back a little closer to you, maybe slightly even behind the knees, because we're going to try to keep, when we come up, to bring our weight directly over our feet is going to help us lift with a little more structural support. So find where your feet land, where your heels are down, where your toes are resting, where your knees and your toes are pointing in the same direction, and then start to find a bit of a rock. So finding a bit of momentum in this movement is helpful. So we're rocking from our pelvis, our hips, back and forth, shining our chest straight ahead as we rock. So try not to bring your gaze or your chest down towards the ground. So now start to find a bit of a bounce if you can. When you push into your feet, you can lift a little bit off your chair and then try to find the chair again. So it might be a quick bounce. It might be a little slower. Find what you can do today. Yeah, and as you're pushing down into your feet, feel your knees moving away from each other. That's it. All right. And then let's come off the chair, but stay as low as we can. So we've still bent through the knees. Maybe our hands come together here in front of the heart, holding this little bit of a squat chair pose for one more breath. And then we can push down into our feet. Come on upright. Whew, maybe a little sway of the hips side to side so you can shift where your feet are to feel this movement comfortably. That's it. And these little sways side to side could become circles as well. Circling the hips in one direction a few times. Knees are welcome to bend a little bit for this. And then feeling those circles the other way. As we circle the hips, just notice, can you keep your pubic bone facing forward? Yeah. So we're letting the pelvis sort of circle around our legs. Okay. And then come on back upright to standing. Now, let's go ahead and use the seat of the chair to do some table pose variations, okay? We'll find a little bit of movement in the arms and in the legs while we're in table. So let's begin with, standing just in front of the chair, a foot or so away from it, and, rocking a little bit back and forth from toes to heels, feeling how your feet land into the ground under your hips. And let's see about bending softly through the knees so that we can bend forward from our hips to come down and then pushing into the feet to come back up. So doing a couple of these hip hinge movements, it's a nice way to both strengthen and stretch the backs of our legs. And we're trying to do this without rounding our back. So noticing if the head is falling forward of our shoulders, if it's rounding and pulling into our upper back, can we keep the head pretty much right where it is so the neck itself doesn't really move. What's moving is our pelvis over our legs, and keeping a softness behind the knees helps you feel this action a little more easily. Okay, so one more time. Each time you're coming up, you can push down strongly into your feet. You might even feel your glutes engage. All right, next time you come forward, let's place the hands on the chair. But if you notice that the chair is just too low and you end up rounding your back, then bring your hands up onto something a little higher that's placed on the seat. Like a block or two, or a book or two, or even just a pillow, okay? So while we're in this table pose, let's go for a little movement through the spine. Keep a little softness behind the knees as we curl the tail towards the feet, hug up and in through the belly, And bring the chin towards the chest. We round and stretch the back. Then inhale, lift the tail away from the knees, open up the chest, looking more maybe beyond the back of your chair now. As we exhale, push down through the hands, hug up and in through the belly. Feel a gentle stretch come through your back. Then let the inhale, lift the tail, open the chest, looking more forward. Good. Feel the breath moving as your spine moves. Keeping in mind the back of the neck, staying long and spacious, even when the head is lifting. Okay. All right, and then last one, let's pause in our more neutral spine here so we can feel the ends of our spine moving away from each other. Tail maybe pointing away from the head, head reaching away from the tail, feeling a sense of lift and support through the front of the belly and the ribs so they're not sinking to the ground. Try to keep them a little more buoyant. And then let's go ahead and take the right arm out to the side. So while we've got this right arm out to the side, let's find a little bit of movement through it. Let's see about reaching this arm back to the wall behind you, beyond your hip, and then out to the side again. And slowly start to sweep it forward, and you might flip the palm so the thumb turns up, and then wide out to the side again, and back. So now the thumb can turn down as the arm reaches back. Out to the side and as forward as feels comfortable. Thumb flips up the further forward it goes. Out to the side and back. So we're finding this gentle rotation in our shoulder as we also find strong trunk stability, core stability, because we're trying not to move through the spine. And then the last one, we could keep our arm out to the side, shift the weight into that right foot. See if you can maybe take the left foot slightly behind you. Maybe you're just on the toes of that left foot. And if it feels comfortable, if you're stable enough to lift your left leg, let's pause for a moment there. See if you can push a little more down through the limbs that are on the ground to lift the front body. There you go. All right, bring it back to the chair. And then just pushing into the feet as we come upright again. And just do a few circles here through the wrists. That's it. You can do these circles with open or closed hands. You could also make it more of like a figure 8 movement. If you're doing circles or figure 8s, try to find them in the opposite direction. Okay. Yeah, and it's nice to change it up, whether you're got your fists, hands and fists closed or open. It just gets into the muscles a little differently. Okay. So let's try that out on the other side. So bending forward from the hips, placing the hands on the seat or on blocks. What lets your spine stay long and strong? Okay. And then we can try to keep all that strength and support as we take our left arm out to the side. And with the left arm stretching out, we're trying to keep the chest wide as we bring the arm back. And then sweep it out to the side and as forward as you can go comfortably through the shoulder. And back out and behind you again. So the arm traces this half circle, forward and back. And maybe it's more of a partial circle because if the arm doesn't feel comfortable going super forward, that's okay. Noticing how your shoulder rotates. Thumb turns down as the arm reaches back. Thumb turns up as the arm sweeps further forward. Really nice. And then let's take the arm just out to the side, straight out from the shoulder. And let's feel the weight more into the left leg as we step our right foot behind us, toes on the floor, And then we could lift. If you're feeling stable through your right hand, your left foot, you could try lifting and reaching back through that right leg a little more. And sense your balance as you breathe. Notice if your head is fallen forward of your shoulders, lifting it up a little. That's it. All right, bring it back down. Woo. Standing into your feet to come on back upright. Okay. Whew. So let's give the hands a little bit of a break. And we'll go ahead and explore those two sequences we did sitting. We're going to try them out standing. So, of course, if you feel a little unsteady without, because we're going to be finding some balance for the first one. So you could, my best advice for this one is to have your back to the wall, or even your back to the chair, or your back to, a table or a piece of furniture, just to have something. If you do end up feeling like you're losing your balance, you could lean back into that support. So something, fairly secure and heavy that you can lean back into. So if you're standing, finding and feeling the support of both feet, once again, you can decide where you feel most supported, right? Feet a little wider, feet a little narrower. We're going to shift the weight into one foot while we lift the other throughout this sequence, okay? So feel where you find that support through your feet. If you're leaning or not fully leaning into your support, ideally, but it's there if you need to, okay? So be as close as you have to be to that support without fully leaning into it to begin with. So let's start with the hands in front of the heart here. So with your inhale, let's simply circle the arms up as high as you feel comfortable going. With the exhale, we're going to take our hands down and lift that right foot. So you could start by lifting just the heel, maybe the toes, maybe the knee, okay? As you breathe in, find that foot back to the floor again. Arms come up. With the exhale, as the hands come down, shift the weight into the right leg. Lift the left heel, lift the left toes. If possible, lifting the knee. Feel the breath in. Bring your feet back to the floor. Let's repeat that same thing one more time. Exhaling as you bring the hands down. Lift the right heel, toes, knee. That's it. Feel the inhale. Bring your feet to the floor. Circle the arms up. Feel the exhale take you back down through center with the hands, shifting your weight into your right foot as you lift as much of the other leg as you want. Breath moves in. Plant your feet. Lift the arms. Let's start to add on. Raising that right foot, knee. That's it. As we inhale now, let's see about stretching this right leg out in front. So it's okay if you need to lower it quite a bit. You could even bring your toes to the floor for support. And then exhale. Hands come back together. See if you can bend that knee again. And then inhale. Both feet down. Arms come up. Exhale. Let's shift the weight into the right leg this time. Lift the left heel, toes, knee if possible. Inhale as we push through that left leg. Open up the arms. Toes could always come down. On the exhale, bend the knee. Hands come back together. Inhale, feet down. Arms up. Let's do that one more time, okay? So feeling the weight into the left leg as we bring our right foot off the ground as much as we can. Let the inhale straighten that leg out in front. Arms come out wide to the sides. Good. Exhale, hands come back together. Knee bends. Inhale, feet land. Both feet support you. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, last one. We shift the weight into the right leg. We lift the left foot. Maybe the knee lifts. As we inhale, stretch the leg, open the arms. Good. As you exhale, bend the knee again. Hands come together. Beauty. Inhale, lift the arms as both feet come down. And exhale, just slowly bring the hands down through center. And let's pause with one hand resting on the chest if you like, and the other hand resting on your belly. A nice way to just tune in, feel the change in your breath. Feel free to close your eyes if you're steady, or just keep them softly open as you focus in on sensing your breath, slowing down little by little, slowing the heart rate. Wonderful. Okay. Let's release the hands. Come back to the chair where we'll do a couple sun salutation variations with some lunge movements, okay? So again, feel free to have some higher supports on the chair to keep that height comfortable for you. That is fine. And standing facing the seat, bring the hands together here in front of your heart. As we inhale, let's do the circling up with the arms, with the spine. With the exhale, let's come down through center. You can bend the knees a bit. You can release as far forward as feels comfortable through your back. Okay, and then as you inhale, let's come more into a table position. Strong and long through the arms, feet right under the hips. Let's go ahead and round the back again through a nice cat tilt. Inhale, open up through a dog tilt, lift the tail, open the chest. Then let's walk the feet back into downward dog. So as our feet walk back, we want to keep the hips pushing back so they are still right above the feet. And we can feel as our arms stretch forward, we're pushing down through the hands. Yeah, and just feeling how this is in the back for another breath. Wonderful. So let's go ahead and step the right foot forward into a lunge. So we've got that right knee bent. And as we have the right knee bent, can we lift a little more space through the front of the chest? Could we move the shoulder blades against the back and feel, you might notice a good stretch in that left calf. So you could even do a little pumping of that heel, lifting it up, bending the knee a bit, pushing down through the heel. Yeah, nice. And then keep that heel stretching back and down as you push into the right foot a little more. Yeah, feel another breath there with that strong strength through both legs. Okay, and then shift more weight. You might want to come a little forward on your hands for this to step your right foot back into your downward dog shape. So knees are welcome to stay a bit bent for downward dog, right? Allow for the length to stay through your spine. Could your head reach further forward towards your hands without moving the rest of your body as your hips reach back? Really nice. So let's take it to the other side. Left foot, bring it forward into your lunge. So now your shoulders are more above your wrists, and get a sense of how this side feels. As we open up the chest to the back of the chair, let's lift off that back heel and stretch down and back through the heel as much as our calf lets us go. It's okay if that heel can't get all the way to the floor. Okay. Good, and then let's keep the heel stretching back and down as we push down into that left foot, like we want to make a deeper footprint into the ground with that foot as we open the chest for another breath here. Wonderful. So in order to bring our left foot back, we need to bring more weight forward into our hands. stepping our left foot back into downward dog again. So let's find a couple movements from our downward dog into our plank. So as we breathe in, let's come forward and bring our shoulders more above our wrists. Yeah, and our hips are going to lower, but we want to keep a sense of lift through the front of the pelvis and belly. Okay, and then you can bend the knees a bit, send the hips back into your downward dog. So let's go for that 2 more times. Feel the inhale, bring you forward into plank. Can you stay strong and long through the legs, tail reaching back to the feet. Exhale, let the knees bend, pushing into the arms, back into downward dog. 1 more time, bring it on forward. Good, and then bring it back. Lovely. Finding your downward dog for another breath. And then let's walk feet forward towards the hands back into table pose. And from this table pose, let's bend our knees, shift the weight a little bit back towards the heels, find a nice strong strength mostly through the feet. You can keep your hands on the seat of the chair as you bend the knees. It's as though you're trying to sit your bum back and down into an imaginary seat behind you. If it feels comfortable to lift one hand, go for it. You could try lifting the other hand, maybe both hands. That's it. Try to keep the chest wide to the hands in front of you. And then press more into your feet to come on up from there. And maybe just check in. Roll it out through the shoulders. Feel the change in your breath after some of those fairly challenging movements. Good. So let's have a seat again. And as we find our comfortable seat, we could maybe just stay forward for a little bit so we can get in a bit of a hip stretch. So let's go ahead and maybe hug this right knee in. You're welcome to hold on behind your thigh. You're welcome to hold on in front of the knee, whatever lets you, hold on comfortably. And then you can find a little movement if you wanted here into this hip. So maybe you draw little circles with your knee, moving into your hip a little more. Yeah, and in the other direction. And then we could try crossing our foot, ankle over the opposite knee. And if you need less sensation in this right hip, walk the left foot further forward. So that'll lower the knee a bit. Or you could also walk this foot over to the other side and it will lower the knee. You could also rest your foot just below the knee if that feels better in the knee. So while we're here, let's lift and lengthen up through the spine and come slightly forward through the hips. So this will give us a nice stretch, probably into and around that right hip and glute. Maybe into the back itself. Hands can land wherever they naturally want to land, where it doesn't pull your shoulders forward or shrug them up to the ears. Nice. All right. And then as you come back upright, let's end with a gentle twist. So we can now pull the knee, hold on to the knee with the opposite hand, pointing the knee more towards the ceiling rather than out to the side. So however your foot is crossed, it could be foot anywhere on the opposite leg. This knee is going to point up as we find a gentle twist to the right. Right hand can just land on the seat and feel another breath here. Good. Let your inhale bring you back to center. You can bring that knee back in for a moment and rest it to the floor. Loosen into the hips. And let's try that out on the other side. So we can lift our left foot, hold on however you like, onto your left leg. That's it. And as you've got hold of that leg, drawing the knee up just as high as it can comfortably go through the hip, we can find little circles. Nice. And then how does this foot want to cross over the other leg? So if the knee feels too high, walk the right foot further forward or further off to the left. Okay. Finding out where this foot can cross below or above the knee, what feels good in the hip and the knee. And then let's lengthen and lift up again, sort of like we're tipping our pelvis forward, pubic bone towards, the space in front of you as you come forward into your stretch. Where do you feel it on this side? What is the intensity? And can we feel the breath moving down into those spaces? All right, taking your time to come on back upright. And then could you bring your right hand to your opposite knee and move the knee sort of more towards the middle, more towards the right. And then we turn belly towards our thigh, chest opening towards the side, just as far as feels comfortable, with the left hand resting on the seat. Emphasizing the length up through the spine as you let it turn. All right, bringing it back to center. Let's lean back, sit back into the seat again. And just one last movement for the joints. We could, with the thighs fully supported on the seat, lift both feet, have palms and fingers, toes and fingers pointing up, and then point them down and up. And so find these movements in wrists and ankles, pointing and flexing. Yeah, you could also kind of curl toes and fingers as you flex and point. Okay. And then we could make a fist, maybe over our thumbs, fingers holding onto our thumbs, and start to circle these joints together in one direction, however you want to organize your circles, and then in the other direction. Nice. Holding on to the thumbs, you feel it a little differently, potentially, into the hands. I do, because I've been doing some knitting. All right, and then rest. Feet to the floor, hands on the thighs in whatever way lets your shoulders relax here. And let's take a bit of time just to, once again, find some stillness, some softness within the body. Tuning into the movements of your breath. And if you like, we can end with a very simple breathing exercise that helps us lengthen our exhales. So it could be a kind of buzzing sound that you make through gently pursed lips, or if that feels difficult, you can also simply hum your exhales, okay? So when we do that, your exhales, you'll notice, will naturally become a little longer. And you just let the inhale come in through the nose, and you exhale through that humming or buzzing sound through the lips, okay? And if at any time, you start to feel dizzy or short of breath, just come and return back to your normal breath, okay? So letting the inhale come in through the nose, and then choosing whether you're doing the buzzing sound through gently pursed lips or humming. Just noticing the slow release of that exhale, and at the end of it, let your inhale come in through the nose again, and just keep going as you like. And then after your next buzzing, humming exhale, just return to feel the nature of your breath moving effortlessly through you. And maybe even once again noticing which nostril is more dominant in this moment. Is it the same one at the beginning of your class, or has it changed? It's the same for me. And then starting to bring your awareness out again into the space around you. Yeah, starting to open the eyes, move the head, the eyes, the neck, looking around your space. All right, let's take one last big breath together. So let's start with the arms along our sides, and as we inhale, lift the arms up, gathering in all the good energy we've each brought to class. Take the hands down in front of the heart, bringing that energy to your heart, and taking a moment to give thanks for your practice today. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.